Yo, what's up, Aries? Welcome to monthly forecast for the month of March 2016. Basically, for the first 3 weeks of March, well, at least up until March 21st, the sun is going to be in the sign of Pisces. The sign of Pisces for you as an Aries is your 12th house. It's the sign that precedes yours. It's the last house of the zodiac. The 12th house has to do with introspection. It has to do with things that are hidden. It has to do with conclusions. It has to do with finalization, and sometimes it has to do with endings. Not to say necessarily that every Aries is going to endure an ending during this point, but it is a possibility. But when the sun moves into your sign of Aries on March 21st, you're going to be ready for a new beginning. So I guess the most important thing I want to say about this is for those first 3 weeks of March up until the 21st of March when the sun moves into your sign, during that time you're going to want to work on trying to let go whatever it is in your life that needs to be let go of. So for a while, maybe you've dealt with a difficult situation that hasn't been so good for your life, or maybe just something in your life is just, outdated and it's no longer serving you. The last thing you want to do is bring that into your new solar new year when the sun moves into Aries on the 21st of March. So keep that in mind. On March 5th, the Mars, which is actually your ruling planet, it's the planet of power, it's the planet of ambition, moves into Sagittarius. That's your ninth house. The ninth house has to do with faraway travel. It has to do with, it could even have to do with maybe you're interacting with people they could be local, but they're from somewhere far away. It also has to do with spirituality. And Mars really amplifies things wherever it goes. So all these areas of your life could be amplified once Mars moves into Sagittarius on March 5th. So I feel that this is definitely going to heighten your fascination regarding spiritual matters. And it doesn't even necessarily have to be something like organized religion. It could be something like astrology, for example. Maybe this is the first time you're watching an astrology video. Now I'm really catching your interest. Maybe it's something that you're going to want to look into more often moving forward. On March 8th, there's a new moon solar eclipse in Pisces. So once again, a lot of stuff going on with your 12th house here. We have a new moon solar eclipse in the sign that precedes yours, the 12th house. New moon solar eclipse, a solar eclipse has to do with a significant life event that's part of your fate. So happening in the 12th house, I mean, honestly, like maybe this is like the indication that you're going to have some sort of like spiritual awakening. And once again, like I said, not necessarily has to be organized religion. It could be something like astrology, for example. Or something is going to come to a conclusion or a finalization or an ending. But whatever it is, it's meant to be a significant event in your life. So it's a new moon. So what new moons are kind of like a trigger. So it's like when a new moon happens, whatever house it happens is, this time it's in your 12th house, and it's a solar eclipse, so it's like a significant life event. It just keeps building and building and building for the next 6 months until finally there's a full moon 6 months later in the same area, and that's whatever's going to be building for the next 6 months finally comes to fruition. So, if it is a conclusion of some sort or a finalization, or an ending or something, it's just everything's going to be building and building and building for the next 6 months, and then finally it's going to happen 6 months down the road from now. Or it could be like that spiritual thing I was talking about. It could be like a spiritual process. All of a sudden you have this new moon in your 12th house and you're really becoming fascinated with like astrology, for example. So for the next 6 months you're like looking at astrology, researching astrology, on and on and on. And then, finally you just have this like awakening 6 months down the road from now. On March 14th, Mercury, the planet of communication, is in the sign of Pisces. So much stuff is happening with this 12th house area for you in the month of March. It's actually making a challenging angle to Saturn in Sagittarius, and once again, Sagittarius is your ninth house of faraway places, and spirituality. So it's almost like Mercury is the planet of communication, and that's in an area that's sort of hidden. It's kind of like private. So maybe you're having like it's making sort of a challenging, or it could be a transformative aspect to Saturn and Sagittarius. So depending on what's happening, particularly in your life, it could be either or it could be both. But basically, you have Mercury, the planet of communication, in a hidden area, making what could be a challenging or transformative aspect to Saturn in an area that has to do with faraway places and spirituality. So, maybe you're watching this. Maybe you're watching me from like far away, or, a situation similar to this. Maybe you're talking to somebody about something like a spiritual subject, and it could be like a challenge. It could be challenging conversation for you because you don't really understand it, or it could be transformative. So you're hearing everything I'm saying, or whoever you're talking to from far away, who is a spiritual person and maybe enlightening you about a spiritual subject, possibly, and it's transformative for you. On March 23rd, there's a full moon. There's a full moon lunar eclipse in the sign of Libra. That's your seventh house. That's your house of one-on-one relationships. Libra is the sign that directly opposes your sign. So, with the lunar eclipse, I mean, we had two. This is the second eclipse this month. We're having two eclipses in 1 month, which is really amazing. But once again, these eclipses are significant events. They have to do with like significant things that are going to happen in your life, and this has to do with your one-on-one relationships. So, being that it's a full moon, this is like a culminating event, which means something is going to change, or like there's going to be some sort of like development regarding your one-on-one relationships. I mean, it could be a particular relationship that you have, maybe with your significant other or whoever, or it could be all about just the way you relate in your one-on-one relationships in general. Whatever it is for you, you can expect that to see the effects of that after the full moon lunar eclipse in Libra on March 23rd. On March 29th, Mercury, the planet of communication, is actually in Aries. Now it's in your sign. It's actually moved on to your sign. And that has to do with when Mercury is in your sign, it's typically like communicating about yourself. And it makes a positive angle to Saturn in the sign of Sagittarius. And once again, Sagittarius is your ninth house of faraway places. So I feel like this is like whatever you're communicating something that could be, pretty far reaching. Maybe you're, involved in film, or like maybe you're involved in music or communication, or maybe you're like active like on social media or whatever. Like this is all really good stuff for that. If you're in film, if you're in music, if you're in social media, if you're, on TV or whatever, your message, what you're saying something about yourself, and it's very far reaching, and it is being communicated in a very positive way. This is a very positive thing that's happening on the 29th of March and following that event. On March 30th, Mercury is in Aries and squaring Pluto. A square is a challenging aspect. It could be a challenging or transformative aspect, like I said, depending on what happens in your life. But Pluto's in Capricorn. That's your 10th house of career. So on March 30th, it's almost like you hit this challenge with your communicating about yourself, and it has to do with your career. So like if your career is in any one of those other areas that I just mentioned, or it doesn't even have to be in any of those, just any career in general, you're having some sort of like challenge communicating about yourself in your career on March 30th. On March 31st, though, Mercury in Aries, once again, your sign, is actually making a conjunction, which is like when it aligns with another planet, and it actually aligns with Uranus, which is the planet of the unexpected. It's the planet of randomness. It's the planet of serendipity, and Uranus is also in your sign. So this is like some sort of like spontaneous, something that you're just going to like stumble upon by surprise. And once again, it's like communication. You're basically, it's communication about yourself, and it's just something surprising, but it's something very positive. So you really end the note, or you really end the month off on a good note with this positive conjunction between Mercury and Aries. I feel like whatever comes out of that is going to be very positive. It's going to be something regarding your communication that you stumble upon in a spontaneous way. And it's a great way to finish off the month. But yeah, once again, a lot of spiritual stuff happening this month for you, Aries. And I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. If you've enjoyed it, make sure to like and subscribe. But that's it for now. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next month. Take care. Bye-bye.